Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with another installment of the 100 Bullets Retro Comics Review, focusing on Volume 10, Decayed. Where we left off at Volume 9, Megan Dietrich of the Trust had been shot by former Minuteman Vic, an ally of Lano, while Lano was having a discussion with Augustus Medici about Lano's place within the trust. Also, Augustus's son Benito had gone to Mexico in search of Dizzy, and alongside Mr. Branch had found her. So we begin. In the 1960s. Axel Nagel receives a call from a young Augustus Medici. After Medici assumed control of his house, after the death of his father and his mother going into a coma. However, a man named Neil Walker has died of old age. In the present, we catch up with Mr. Nagel, seemingly, I think, in Atlantic City. Getting onto an elevator with his bodyguard, Otto, and he just tells the bodyguard, "Don't worry, hey, I got this." As he gets in, he tells Otto, he asks Otto if he has anything to worry about, and as the door closes, another voice says, "Yes, Axel, I'm afraid you do." Elsewhere, but nearby, Jack is talking with his, I don't know the exact terms, but basically the guy that Jack deals with for setting up the bare knuckle fights he gets into. Well, turns out nobody's betting against Jack, so maybe it's time for him to take a dive. Elsewhere in Atlantic City, someone's getting a tattoo done. We then catch up with Megan Dietrich, looking at the scar of the bullet wound. And she's informed that Mr. Medici is here to see her. She initially figures it must be Benito, but it turns out to actually be Augustus. And so the two talk. Basically, Augustus is making sure that Megan's on his side. At one of the casinos, Vic and Loop are waiting around for basically waiting for the word from Lana. Loop's playing the slots. Vic is just, hanging out. Back with Axel. He's discussing in the elevator how 13 is an unlucky number, and there's no 13th floor in hotels. And Nagel mentions that what they've been whittled down to is a 10 or 9. And apparently the plan is to get to 1. person in the elevator with him states this is how the end begins, though Nagel insists the end began a long time ago. When Agent Graves took over the Minutemen. We see Graves, the younger Nagel, August Medici, and Javier Vasco with Graves, discussing the potential future. However, Graves isn't sure that Mr. Shore would agree with everyone. Though Graves is sure that the Trust has Graves' back. In the present, Jack's, we'll call it fight coordinator, has just been given quite the bag of cash to set up a fight with Jack. Back with Mr. Nagel, all grown up, or the older Mr. Nagel in the present. Turns out the man in the elevator with him is Javier Vasco. That night, Jack gets ready for his fight the way he normally does, by holding the .45 Graves gave him up to his chin. And then we discover just who Jack's opponent is. Lano, with a brand new tattoo across his stomach, which says one word: Croatoa. Jack is dumbfounded as Lano proceeds to beat the ever-living shit out of him. Back with Augustus Medici and Megan Dietrich, they're continuing to talk, discussing the future. The fight between Lano and Jack continues. Neither one of them show any sign of going down. Vasco offers Nagel some pills while they're in the elevator together. Vasco promising Nagel that he'll take care of Nagel's world. In flashback, we see Graves meeting with Mr. Shore, and Shore's not too happy about the fact that basically the Trust has Graves' back. Jack then has a memory of him and Cole Burns sitting in the back of a car. And Jack asking Cole if one bottle was all he had. As they go to meet Wiley and Victor with Milo driving. The fight continues. Nagel's discovered. Shore gives the Trust a warning, stating that they put their fate into the hands of a man who believes the fate is his. Augustus and Morgan sleep together. Graves gives assurances about his loyalties, and Vic and Luke load the bruised and battered and unconscious forms of Lano and Jack in the back of their car. Next, we get the funeral for Nagel, for Mr. Nagel, or Axel Nagel. Lano off to the side. We then get another story. We meet a new player, a man by the name of Ronnie. He works for a local mobster, picking up protection money from people. And there's a rumor that maybe, and he hears the rumor that maybe his brother Remy is stealing meat again. After the funeral, Axel Nagel's children are spoken to, basically with kind of a they're kind of wondering if they're going to lose everything or what. We then meet Ronnie's brother Remy. He's kind of a loudmouth ass working at a meatpacking plant. Ronnie and Remy have a chat about the potentially stolen meat, and, well, Remy swears he ain't doing it. He's not stealing the meat. He also reminds Ronnie that their mom's birthday's coming up. Back with the trust, they decide what they're going to do when it comes to the House of Nagel. And it's decided that the House of Nagel will continue to stand. And then Lars, with Axel Nagel's children, are then told to decide amongst themselves who will be the head of the house. Back with Ronnie, he's helping out his mom a bit, and we see that by his car is an attaché case. Turns out Remy's a real charmer. He lives with his mom and sneaks his girlfriend in and out of the house. Also, back with with members of the trust, Lano has a meeting with Augustus and Megan. Megan isn't entirely certain that Lano could be trusted, and so she tests him, telling him to put his gun to his head. And so Lano does exactly that. Puts his gun to his head and puts his head next to Megan's, and tells her to tell him to pull the trigger. He also explains that if he wanted the trust dead, he would have killed him yesterday at the little sit down. Explaining that Megan would have been the last to die and would have probably died a few minutes ago when he got done screwing her to death. Back with Ronnie, he meets with Mimo, the local mobster he works for. He learns about a few things and passes on what he knows. Also, Mimo gives Ronnie a dress to give to his mom for her birthday. And so one of the guys, the meatbag plant, Ronnie's trying to get one of the guys, Remy's trying to get one of the guys from the meatbag plant to go out with him to, see a, well, go to a club with him and his girlfriend. Yeah. The Nagel children are trying to. Lars wants to actually discuss what's going on. Anna doesn't really care to. And he's going out, but she's going to go out, but he decides he'll stay in. In the garage, Remy has discovered the attaché case. Anyway, that night, Ronnie and Remy celebrate their mom's birthday. Lars was at the El Quixote, an old place of his father's, and apparently he made the reservation. Well, he did make a reservation. The restaurant got a call to add 2 to it. We then catch it back up with Remy and his girlfriend and his friends watching a band play. It's just kind of meh. Ronnie gets a call, however. The meat man has a tapeworm. And Ronnie is expected to take care of it. No more tapeworm. Javier Vasco, as well as another of the trust, Mr. Vermeer, meet with Lars Nagel, discussing the future and who should run the House Nagel. Lars finds it funny how his sister would rather not talk about it. Ronnie shows up at the club that Remy's at. Apparently he has another job to do there. However, outside, a homeless man is given a $100 bill by a passerby. Passerby named Agent Graves. After all, Graves doesn't carry any change. He only carries paper. Anna meets up with Otto, her late father's bodyguard. Explains that Malcolm, her bodyguard, is not here. Lano, however, is in the car waiting to speak with her. Back with Ronnie, he's at the club talking with the owner of the place, and it's explained that between booking, rent, liquor license, paying off cops, he's barely scraping by, so he can't afford to get, any money. And so Ronnie explains that what's going to happen is the club owner's Ronnie's going to walk out of the bar with the door for the night. The owner's going to square it. Ronnie's busy looking for his brother, however, before he leaves. Turns out Remy is outside. The homeless man from earlier is seen by Remy's car when Ronnie comes out, and then Remy pulls the gun on Ronnie. And we see just what the homeless man was doing at the car, writing a word in the snow. That word is Croatoa. Back with Anna Nagel, Jack, Lano, and Otto were talking with her, and they passed by El Quixote, where Vasco and Vermeer are leaving with Lars. So, and they do suggest that perhaps maybe Vermeer and Vasco aren't too happy with their talk with Lars because, well, there was no Anna on a silver platter to be offered. Back with Remy and Ronnie. Well, yeah. It's getting tense. And Remy asked Ronnie the question. I really ruin your life? Well, Ronnie kind of says maybe. So Remy explains that the case of Ronnie's that he found makes a pretty good case that Remy did. And so they're asked because Ronnie still thinks that Remy's the one stealing meat. If you're what's going on out here, because trunk gets popped, and it turns out that Remy's telling his buddy a bunch of old porno magazines that he picked up after old guy street croaked. However, Ronnie and Remy decide they're going to take care of the problem with the meat because, well, Remy's got a pretty good idea of what's actually going on there. Back with Anna Nagel and Lano and Jack, they drop her off at home. And they wait. Meanwhile, Ronnie and Remy are making their way towards the meatpacking plant when Lars Nagel arrives. As that happens, Victor calls Graves. Warning him to watch his back. Ronnie calls up Mimo, tells him that he's taking care of the tapeworm. During everything, Remy gets cut in the face. And suffice to say, it looks bad. Then catch up with Burns and Graves, who were waiting. Though Burns explains that waiting on a wild card is a sucker's play. However, Graves explains he's the dealer. Lars returns home. Anna talks with Anna and also notices the pills and says, pills and booze, that's not good. At the meat plant, the two guys who are stealing meat have been taken care of. The Nagel kids discuss what they're going to do, and Lars surprises Anna, explaining that the house is hers. He has no interest in it. They drink a toast. Well, Lars offers a toast before he dies from the pills that were put in the champagne. Back with Ronnie and Remy. Remy, face covered in blood, is dealing with the remains of the, shall we say, tapeworm. Anna Nagel, realizing what she's done, killed her twin brother, promptly follows him. Later on, Ronnie shows up at a meat market, explaining to his butcher friend that the sausage he tried earlier, Mimo wants to call it Slime & Brothers Organic Salami. Line up the chain stores, Vino Rego, and Fazio's to carry it. Then Graves comes for the talk with Ronnie. Megan and Augustus discuss the recent events within the Trust. And it seems that the Trust has voted almost unanimously to absorb the House of Nagel. Even though Augustus voted against such a move. Of course, Augustus believes Graves to blame. Back with Ronnie and Graves, Ronnie explains that he's not going to kill his brother. And we also see a bit of what happened that night. Whatever happened has left Ronnie with the need for a cane. Elsewhere, Cole meets up with Remy. Well, Remy's, pissing on Mimo from a bridge. I mean that literally, too. They're still waiting on Ronnie and Graves to finish their talk, however. As it's taking a while, it's clear that Ronnie's at least listening. Next up, we got a large unrelated issue. A couple of panhandlers are walking by, passed by an Asian guy sitting on a park bench. And, they ask him to spare some change, and the guy flashes a 45 at them. And so, they leave. And flashback to earlier, when the young Asian man met Agent Graves, explaining everything about the case that he can. Our two panhandlers are still kind of weirded out by the fact that, they basically had a gun pulled on them. Lano passes by the pair and they ask him for change. Lano basically says, in not so nice manner, turns them down and also calls one of them a phobo. Graves and the young man talk some more. And Graves talks about the old adage, shit happens. So he accepts that shit happens if you take it. Well, the young Asian man's waiting outside. Another man sits down beside him, lighting up a cigarette, and propositions him until Lano shows up. Tells the guy, convinces the man to leave. He talks to the young Asian man then, and asks, if he's the type of guy that grants satisfaction with the last meal, or more of a let him die with an empty stomach kind of guy. But back in the flashback, Graves takes his fortune cookie, pays for his meal, and leaves. The briefcase is still with him. Back in the present, the guy starts to pull the gun on Lano, but Lano basically says before it even gets close, Lano will empty it into his face. Explaining he's just here to talk. And so, he actually even suggests how to do it. Get as close as you can. Play it cool. Walk toward her calmly, fire around her to a window to make some noise, shatter some glass, scatter some people. No idea who you're shooting at. Folks will fly like shit from a goose. The target does too, but you don't take her eyes off of her. She's in a blind panic, not knowing where to go. She's followed. Takes one in the shoulder, one in the gut, and then finally, one in the head. However, it seems Lano is honestly trying to convince the guy not to do it. Or at least make him think about doing it, whether he should or shouldn't do it. The young panhandler couple are found by the guy who tried to proposition our young Asian friend earlier. Their dog doesn't seem to like him much, and it turns out that the rather expensive boots of one of them are now hanging from one of the wires above the street. Lano does ask a bit more about our young Asian friend. Apparently his target runs a clinic, helps people. So Lano asks, when did she screw you over? He explains it was in med school. Then he asks if she meant to do it. Apparently she did. Lano then asks if he thinks she regrets screwing him over, and he says that he doesn't think she thinks about him. And it turns out that the guys picked up the two panhandlers might be a bit more of a problem than they think. As underneath the passenger seat of his car is a knife, a roll of duct tape, and some rope. As Lano leaves, the Asian man asks just what Lano would do in his shoes. Lano just looks at him and smiles, and that is where the story ends. That's all for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.